All right, hi, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to yet another edition of the 1040 Files. Today I have with me a good friend of mine, a longtime friend. In fact, I don't even want to mention this, Heather, because it'll age us both maybe a bit. How
Yeah.
long have we known each other, Heather?
Gosh, are we talking maybe 20 years? Or
I
is
think
it
it might be something like 20 years. Yes, I have my good friend, Heather Coulter. Heather used to be in my neck of the woods. She used to be in Wheaton. And she up and got married. Can you believe that she would do that? She up and got married and moved to Memphis, Tennessee. Heather is a financial advisor extraordinaire. Okay, she is a great financial advisor. We share a lot of clients together, and so I've seen Heather work through the years, and I can say that very confidently. Heather she's with her husband's firm, William Howard and Company. You can find Heather at H. Coulter, and you can see her name, Coulter, at WHCFA.com. But until we're done with this conversation, you're sitting there going, why'd you tell me that? Because we haven't really given Heather a chance to really show her chops. So that's what we're going to do today. Today we're going to talk about taking income during retirement. And I think it's a fair statement to say that there is a lot of information out there that people have about taking money in retirement, whether it be should they draw from Roth or draw from traditional IRAs, when they should take Social Security at age 62 or age 70. And I think we're going to find today that the answer, as is so often the case, is it depends. So,
Yep.
Heather, tell me a little bit about you work with a lot of retirees, correct? Tell me, is that a fair
I
statement?
do. I do. I've got a lot that are planning for retirement, and I have a lot in retirement. I'm down here right now in Naples, Florida, meeting with a lot of those.
So, Heather, a lot of people, when they get into retirement, they've got various types of accounts. They've got to decide when they take Social Security.
Yep.
Let's handle this one first. Let's
Yeah.
handle Social Security. People can take Social Security at age 62, but if they take it at age 62, then they better be stopped working. They can wait until full retirement age, which I believe full retirement age is now age 67, or they
Correct.
can
Or
wait till,
66 and 9 months, but yeah, it depends on
yeah,
the birthday.
I think
Yep.
for you and I, it's going to be 67. I think that's,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
And then you can also wait
And
until age
delay.
70. So
Mm-hmm.
here's the first question. You have someone come up to you, Heather. You have me coming up to you.
Yeah.
When should I take Social Security?
Again, it depends
Okay.
because I'm not just a financial advisor, but I'm a certified financial planner. I'm a CFP. And so the first thing I do is I do a comprehensive financial plan because I need to understand all the moving parts. So a lot of people, some will have pension, but the typical thing when you look at it is if someone comes in and takes it at age 62, you've paid in all that time.
Yep.
That number and figure at age 62 is approximately 30% less that you're going to get of what you paid in.
I'm going to get 30% less if I take it at age 62. Okay.
Yep. And full retirement age is more based on the 100% that you paid in.
Okay.
70, if you delay till 70, think about it this way, you could get up to 30% more than what you paid in because you waited and it inflated up.
I had a recent statistic that I saw, Heather. I don't even know if you're aware of it, but something along the lines of 50% of the population at age 62 is retired. And then it might even be that's before age 62. And then by like age 64, it's 75%. It just starts going astronomically through the roof. So a lot of
Right.
people, I'm guessing, are starting to take Social Security early. What do you
If
think?
they don't, yeah, if they don't have other assets or other income sources, right? That completely depends. Can they delay? I can run projections to show how hard do we have to hit the portfolio if we choose to delay till 70? Because it's got to come from somewhere else for them to live on, right?
Exactly. So,
So,
so what you're saying is if someone takes it at age 62, Then what they can do is maybe leave their other assets alone. Is that what you're saying? And
True.
or they can wait till age 70 and live
Yeah.
off their other assets.
Exactly. So again, if they've got pension coming in, other ordinary income coming in, because Social Security is taxed, right,
Yep.
over a certain limit, got to look at what other ordinary income is coming in.
Okay.
Now I know I might be jumping the gun on you, but another
Nah,
thing
jump the
you have
gun.
to, after you have to look at it, right, is RMDs have gone out
Okay,
too.
now you just threw out a big term that maybe not everybody knows. RMD. What is that?
That is a required minimum distribution that
Okay.
people will have to take out of their qualified plans. So if you have an individual retirement account, you have a 401k, 403, 403b, things like that is all growing tax deferred. And there's a certain age that the IRS will say it's time for you to take your required minimum distribution and you have to take it or you get penalized for not.
There you go. And that age right now is age 73. And so
Yes, if
it's going to go up like in a few years to age 75, but right now it's age 73.
that's correct.
And what happens, Heather, if I said, "Oops, I didn't take it"?
I call someone like you and I say, help.
Yeah, there you go. Because what happens is there could be a possibility of a 25%
Hmm.
penalty, which could be whittled down to 10%, which you might say, oh, but back a few years ago, before Secure Act 2.0, that penalty was 50%.
Yep.
Very easy penalty to get out of typically, but I don't think that penalty is going to be so easy to get out of anymore. So let me ask you this. When you take a look at someone and they're determining whether to take Social Security or not, you said you kind of look at their portfolio and see what kind of assets they have. Are there any other factors that you look into?
Well, I mean, obviously their goals and objectives and how much they need. I got to back my way into all of that. Now,
Yeah,
I've got a lot of clients that actually have concentrated positions. A concentrated position is something where they own so much of one company or one stock.
there you
And
go.
that can happen pretty easily with people who are working for a certain company, so they're getting a lot of that stock while they're working over the years. Sometimes it happens because they just bought a lot of it long time ago and it's grown over the years and so
Okay.
it is appreciated, it's called. So
Yeah,
now they've got a low cost basis, right, and it's appreciated to a very high number and they have so much over concentration in one position, one part of the market. Sometimes I look at that. So I've got a client with that situation, tons of Apple, super smart about buying it way
yeah,
back when it first came out, really smart. So I'm trying to get them, they are, to delay to age 70. They do have pension coming in, wait till full retirement age and for Social Security. But what I can do now, because before all that ordinary income comes in, I can start doing some things and hit that account so I can help them get more diversified because there's some risks there as they age,
yeah.
obviously. So, and they need money to live on. So it's a win-win. So we're trying to prune it. We're trying to lower that concentration in that one position. I try to diversify them in the markets and they're living in the lifestyles. And it's helping us delay into the future before those RMDs hit.
So let's go back here to Social Security. If you take it at age 62, it's 30% of what you would
Less.
get, 30% less than what you normally get. But then you wait till age full retirement age 66, whatever, age 67, and you get full. Is there any benefit to waiting to age 70?
Yeah, sure. Some people it makes sense. So again, I can run the numbers and compare, but they might have a lot of different income things with pensions, like I mentioned. They already have pensions coming in and it's meeting their lifestyle, or some people might even have a disability income or a VA type
There
thing
you
coming
go.
in. There's all kinds of multiple income sources out there that they already have. So I'm easily able to delay them to age 70. And you also look at their family history. You got to look at lifespan. Nobody knows when the angel bus is coming, so it's not
Yeah.
black and white. I can run different scenarios looking at that.
So you just named a big thing. That's lifespan because nobody knows when their great getting up morning is. And that
Exactly.
ultimately, I've always said to clients, and maybe you've said the same thing, is tell me when, this sounds very crass, but Tell me when you're going to die, and I'll tell you when to take Social Security. And it just, unfortunately,
Yeah.
it's the way to look at it. I've had clients wait till age 70. And I'll never forget, this just happened a couple years ago. A client of mine, husband and wife, worked very hard. They waited till age 70, and probably about 2 months after waiting till age 70, the spouse passed away. And that's
It's
and
sad.
again, nobody can control that. It is what it is, but it definitely has to weigh in on the decision, I would think, a little bit.
Absolutely. It is. I always have that conversation with them. If they feel strongly and their parents died early or whatever, then I definitely wouldn't push them to delay just because the numbers make sense. The numbers will do the talking, but that's not all there is. It's not, just like you said, it's not black and white. There's always gray areas to everyone.
Now, if I wait till age 70, so I take it at age 67, I could take it at 67, but if I wait till age 70, do I get the same amount as age 67? Do I get more? How
You
does
get
that
more.
work?
You get more.
Okay, because
Get
it's something
close.
like 8% per year, isn't it?
That is correct. Yeah. So
Yeah.
they reward you for waiting. So that's where that 30%, approximately 30% more of what you paid in comes in from. They're rewarding you.
Yeah, there you go. And that reward for someone who's got longevity lasts for it lasts for a long, it lasts till they die. So it's a good thing.
Exactly. And I
So
run my projections out right now for everyone to age 100 because people are living a lot longer now.
let's talk now about, okay, so we've got the Social Security, and if you take anything away from this, I think the thing to take away is there's no right or wrong answer. It depends, and it depends on a lot of factors. And people come into this, Heather, with any of this conversation. Some people have come in and they pound their fist on the table and say this is the way it is, and I don't think that's the right answer, and just based on what we're
Mhm.
talking about. So
No, it's
now
not.
let's talk about taking income during retirement. And when I think of income in retirement, I think there's typically three buckets to draw from a person's assets. And you can add or subtract to these. I look at first your regular accounts, your brokerage accounts that you've had, that you've made investments in throughout the years, your bank accounts where you've got money at the bank, those sort of things which are just in your name. They're not earmarked for anything. They're just there. And then the second bucket that I think of is your tax deferred money, meaning things like your IRA, your 401k, your 403b. And then the last bucket that you think of, and a lot of people, more people have this now than ever before, that's where they've got their tax free money, being their Roth IRA. So, Roth IRA. Tell me, how does someone go about saying, I'm gonna withdraw money? What are things that you look
Yeah.
at to determine the best case scenario?
Yeah. So first you kind of want to look at where they might be tax wise in the future,
Okay.
meaning they might be a high income earner right now. And then when you look into the future, they're actually going to be in a lower with what's coming out of those accounts, right?
Okay, so you're taking that right now, especially when someone's working, they're being taxed at whatever, and then when they get in retirement, they're going to be in a lower tax bracket, is what you're saying.
Yes. So
Okay.
if it looks kind of like that, now nobody knows what the tax brackets are going to be in the future. Things can change, but you
Yeah.
always got to plan, as you know, the current tax laws, what we're at.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, well, then let them create the ordinary income when they need to withdraw from the IRA in the future, meaning I wouldn't push them maybe to do a Roth conversion at that time. If it's going to be a lower tax bracket in the future and they can just handle creating the ordinary income coming from the RMDs, that would be okay.
So again, people have these accounts. So I've got my brokerage account that has some mutual funds in it, has a couple stocks in it, pays off some dividends. And then I've got my qualified money, my tax deferred money that when I pull it out, it's taxed. And
Yeah.
then I've got my Roth money, which is, man, that's free game there. That I love that. But the advice I've heard is first you pull from your regular accounts, then you pull from your tax deferred accounts, and the last money you pull from is your Roth account. Now, that's what I've heard. And there's a part of me going, Heather, that I go, well, that's no fun. I mean, I did the Roth so that I wouldn't have to pay tax. And so I kind of would like to withdraw some of that maybe now that I'm in retirement. And again, maybe the last money I want to withdraw is that money that's tax deferred because that gets taxed at ordinary rates. Help our audience here. How do they go about making that decision?
The way I look at it, how much do they have in that non-qualified brokerage account compared to the qualified? Meaning so you got a non-qualified brokerage account that's only being taxed by dividends, interest, and capital gains
Yep.
here. You've got qualified money, IRA, things like that. Everything they touch and pull from it is all ordinary income,
Yeah.
is here. Usually the Roth accounts are also here. So if they're way up here in that qualified money, and this is where I can only do my tax planning, so to speak, the non-qualified money, I wouldn't tell them to deplete this to zero and wait to do that before they touch their qualified money. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
you would not tell them to do that. You would say
I would not tell
you'd
them to
say
do
leave
that.
that money alone as best you can, maybe.
I would try to preserve that a little bit if it makes sense for the client, depending on what tax
Yeah.
bracket they are. Let's say instead of doing a Roth conversion and they need money to live on, and this non-qualified account is so much smaller than everything they got. So
Yeah.
what's going to happen if we just let this tax deferred to that, let's say age 75? Their RMDs in the future are going to be ginormous. So what you can do is you can pull money out if they're in their 60s. There's no problem with still pulling money out, let's say from the qualified plan, even though they're not an RMD age.
So what I hear you saying, and I've seen clients do this, and this is kind of where you've got someone that maybe they retired from big company and they
Yeah,
retired at age 62. And so they were in a really high tax bracket and now they're not.
there's
And they
nothing coming in.
and so now they sit there and go, well, I'm looking at age 73 coming around the corner and I'm looking at some big RMDs, some big amounts I got to take out. So what I've seen is that clients take some money to maximize the current tax bracket they're in. Maybe it's the 24% bracket or whatever it is. We're going to take that amount and we're going to throw it into a Roth and
Or spend it if they're
or
looking to, or
yeah.
use it for their lifestyle expenses because it's going to do the same thing. Whether it's a conversion or they spend it because they need it to live, it's still going to reduce the RMD in the future.
Yeah, there you go. That's the number thing. It reduces, and especially if they don't need that RMD money, is where that comes into play.
Absolutely. Now, if you have a client where the non-qualified account is about equal, now
Okay.
you get to play that game, right? Where
Yeah,
you can do the gains and all of that, some
that's
here and
right.
some here. But I guess in being the financial planner I am, never knowing really what's going to happen in the future with taxes, I like to play with both of them. I
Yeah,
don't
you kind of
deplete it
have to.
all.
You
Yeah.
kind of have
In the
to.
Roth, you're right. It depends on the Roth. And you're right, it's nice to have that tax-free income sitting there. I think it's more about where it doesn't become black and white so much. It's not always just about the taxation of it. It's leaving what their legacy or their estate planning
There you
goals are.
go.
That is one of the best things to leave for a beneficiary is a tax-free Roth
Account.
account.
Yeah, I can hear someone out there saying, "Why don't well, they can pay the tax all they want? I'm the one who doesn't want to pay the tax."
And
But
you're going to
anyway,
get that too. You
yeah,
are. You're going to get that too. And so then they can hit the Roth in the future. I think the Roth is a wild card. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful type of account. I just think it would come into play more in the future when we're in a pretty low tax, tax
environment.
environment right
That's
now.
right.
If that changes in the future, that Roth would really become more beneficial to people. I guess in the low tax environment that we're at right now, doing more Roth conversions or just pulling from the IRAs and filling up those brackets is just more prudent for me to do with the
Yeah.
clients right now.
So let's talk about this. Something that kind of goes that a lot of people don't think about, but you and I are forced to think about it. And again, what I'm talking about here is what happens to these accounts when I die. So there are some benefits that a regular account has over like an
Qualified.
IRA. Talk
Yep.
about those a little bit.
Absolutely. So those non-qualified brokerage accounts that we were talking about and the way that they are taxed with
Yeah.
just capital gains, realized gains, dividends, interest. When someone passes away, the current tax law is that you get a step up in basis. So those holdings inside there, your parents paid $1, they're now worth 100. When the owner of that account passes away, then it steps up to that 100 and it passes to you. So now you can sell it without all that realized gain.
There you go. That's
So
a
that's the
that's a
benefit.
big thing that I don't know that gets considered in that whole conversation about pulling money out. Is that those retirement accounts are great, but those tax deferred accounts, but those are the IRS is waiting with bated breath to tax those, and they're either going
Right.
to
And
get
you,
taxed when you take it out or your loved ones take it out. But make no
right.
mistake about it, it's going to get taxed.
Exactly. And then, of course, with the Secure Act, it changed that, right? Where you were able to give and pass along to a child and it could do a stretch out, it was called,
Yeah,
over their lifetime. But now they have to spend it. So if you pass away and my daughter was going to get all of my qualified money, she has to spend it all within
yeah.
10 years.
I mean, again, if you notice anything in this conversation, this is a complicated conversation.
It is. And again, everyone's different because I don't know how much fixed income sources they've got. But that's
Yeah,
one thing I like to do. You talked about buckets and the different types of accounts. You think of
yeah,
buckets as one, two, three, non-qualified, qualified, Roth.
yeah.
How I look at buckets, I've got a bucket sheet that I look at it like that, where I take a look how much is in fixed and cash and money market and things to get them through 3 years of their
Okay,
lifestyle needs out of the portfolio. So what I mean by that is you take a look at the fixed income and their expenses, you subtract that. Okay, this is how much they need from the portfolio in 1 year, say
okay.
$100,000. Over a 3 year time, I need $300,000 that isn't going to be impacted by a bear market if they need money. So if a
There you
bear market
go.
hits, their lifestyle won't be impacted as much because we don't have to sell at a down time. It's in
Yeah,
bucket one already earmarked for them. Does that make sense?
makes perfect sense. It makes
And then I've
perfect
got a
sense.
bucket two. So anything over that 3 years, 4 to 6, 4 to 7, some people could look at how is the accounts invested in that bucket? So now
Okay.
you've got some fixed and equities, maybe a 60/40, depending on the allocation for that client. Then you go over and above that 7 years. That might be where the Roth is, where I know they're not going to touch it for at least 7+ years, and I might invest it more aggressively
You could be
in that
very
bucket.
aggressive with it, can't you?
Exactly. So
Yeah.
it's not only just about the type of account, the taxation of the account, it's also about what do we need to live on? How do I invest these type of accounts for, growth and to be able to have enough fix for them.
Tell me other thing. Anything else our audience needs to be aware of? Anything else that comes to mind?
They need a really good CPA and a good CFP to work together,
Well, hey, thank
you
you for the
know?
advertisement. You advertise for us both.
I've got all these ideas and can do all these strategies and buckets and everything, but I definitely always lean on a CPA when it comes to what's best for that individual client on the taxation side of what I'm doing to them.
If you take anything away from this, it's that there needs to be a plan. What's the
Yes.
game plan? And many folks maybe just don't think about the ramifications because this depending on how much people have in assets, this can save a whole lot more than the fees that are paid to someone like you to help plan this out.
Yeah,
So, anyways, well, Heather, thank
absolutely.
you so much for being with us. You can find Heather again. She's at H. Coulter at WHCFA.com. That's William Howard. You can find her. She is a financial planner extraordinaire, and just thank you so much. So, folks, look forward to seeing you on future podcasts, and go conquer your worlds.